Hey guys, welcome back to ArtosisCasts. Hope that you're having a wonderful day here today. We're going to be looking at another effort game, but it's not for effort. It's actually because we are going to be looking at Tyson over here in the bottom right, our red Protoss player. And yeah, we're going to do a little bit of a deep dive on Tyson, and I'll explain to you why. So he's been playing a lot on the ladder. I have a couple games of him versus Effort, and then some of his Protoss versus Terran games. Now, for those of you who might remember, right? So one of my favorite things about this casting channel is just keeping up to date with who's in what sort of shape, because the ladder can tell you a lot about players. Not everything, of course, but you know, I feel like we here at ArtosisCasts, if you watch these videos regularly, and you know you've watched. Over a long period of time, you've seen like a lot of predictions pop up that have turned out to be quite true. Like for instance, right, we saw speed coming miles away, you know, things like that. Paralyzed, for instance, definitely we're talking about Paralyze and Motive quite a bit. You know, Ample as well. Like I feel like we've seen that a lot because we kind of keep track of who's super active, what their games are looking like, how are they altering their style, things like that. Now, you might remember or you might not, because it was kind of a disappointing run. Leading up to ASL Season 19, I was kind of predicting Tyson as maybe a little bit of an underdog in that match. And I was saying how he might even be favored to beat Light in his group in ASL Season 19, because we had casted on this channel a lot of his Protoss vs. Terran games, a lot of his games in general. And I was valuing Tyson as one of the strongest Protoss vs. Terran players in the world. Well, if you remember what happened there, he had Light dead like 99 times out of 100. And Light found the only path to victory, and Tyson found the only path to defeat, both at the same time. You might have seen some videos highlighting it on Jinjin's channel where he translated the other pros, literally making fun of Tyson for how big of a throw it was. But anyways, you know, that kind of ruined his run, and we didn't see him in ASL Season 20. But he's super active right now. I know they're talking a lot. I'm not really paying attention to that. Sorry. But yeah, this is just something that I kind of want to check out and see what type of shape is he in, right? Like, we're not that close to the ASL qualifiers, but we're getting closer. And, you know, some of these players seem very active at the moment. So, yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing... Wow, really nice micro, actually, against Effort there. Really nice micro. I'm really interested in seeing, you know, what are their games going to be looking like. So anyways, that's kind of the build-up. We'll get into the actual talking about the game now. We're on Metropolis. You can see that Tyson actually, with the pylon build, mined the minerals here, went back, returned, and then got up here. That actually timed out the gateway really well, whereas other times, sometimes you'll build the pylon, send it back to mine, and another probe will have to come out to build the gate. So that was kind of interesting. But then Effort, who had gone pool first, went ahead and mined out the other piece of minerals. So, like, there was potential here, possibly, and maybe there still is some potential here, possibly, for Effort to do a run-by, because this ramp is not going to be easily blockable. So, I don't think that'll occur, but, like, Effort set it up so that there's a potential that it could occur, which is the exact type of thing that Effort does, because he is, like, one of the most decisive Zergs out there. Okay. Now, looking at the actual game, we have more of a wall being made. He's definitely going to have to block there because there are some lings coming in, 8 Zerglings on the way. You can see a bunch of probes coming down, obviously, to mine, but I think he's going to have to pull a few up here while the cannon finishes to make sure that those lings don't run by. Over here, another Zealot does go into the main base and actually takes a little bit of damage there from those drones. Yeah, he will back it up and try to have it trade as well as possible. In the meantime, these lings will end up running by. 2 of them going after the cannon, making those Zealots come back. And 3 in the main base, which is deadly because speed's about to finish. So Effort has set himself up reasonably well here. Speed is done. He's trying to get the cannon. Oh man, he's actually diving on the cannon now. Okay, so this is becoming a bit problematic. Oh, that's a great catch right there. That's a great catch. Just one very low health ling left. More lings coming in, though. Doesn't look like anymore. He's actually droning behind this and forces another cancel on a cannon. But Tyson might be panicking a little bit. He might be looking at this and saying, uh-oh. But I love that Effort has done all this work to potentially get a bunch of damage and then just drones behind it. And Tyson is actually not even blinking. Like, he's actually, like, I feel, well, I mean, I'm not a Protoss player, but I would have pulled up a couple probes to sit in this wall, and then when the Sing of Zealot's out, like, at least have one probe there. So I'd definitely be losing some mining time that Tyson is not, because it did feel like more would be coming. Now, as this probe gets over here, it sees the Hydralisk Den. That's incredibly important. This does look to be a 3-hatch Hydra build. He's getting up to actually a higher drone count than what we normally see. But that was a good scout. We'll see if Tyson is able to block everything, and will Effort actually go for the very aggressive play? That's kind of the question that we're looking for. Like, how much pressure will he put on with these Hydralisks? So the final Ling finally gets picked off. Citadel on the way. Stargate almost done. Hasn't started any additional cannons yet. Of course, you don't need to quite yet. And a couple of his Zealots do get sent over to this third base, and this is going to be highly annoying. He's going to go ahead and sit these together between the two hatcheries, which is going to be really, really difficult to deal with. And in fact, okay, so he's having a little bit of glitching going on here. Okay, yeah, you got to kind of just hold position there. Now, as the Hydra comes out, he has to come out and fight. Otherwise, the Hydra will just kill them over time. So the Zealots will end up getting picked off. Not really that much damage. I think it was a good idea to try to get out there and get something done. Hydras are being hatched, so he's going to have to throw up a few more cannons. We have the Corsair going across the map. There are a couple more cannons coming up. The Zealots going out in front of everything. +1, a little ways off. Zealot legs, a lot of ways off. And he will block easily against these Zerglings. And in fact, the Hydras, not too many are coming. It looks like he should have the 3 up and ready. 3 more gates being added. I actually am a huge fan of this type of style. This looks similar to what Best has been doing more recently in PvZ, where it's like, yeah, he puts up some cannons, but what he's really focusing on is the counterattack that he's going to be doing. You can see these gates coming up really quickly. He's not interested in, for instance, just getting up to Psy Storm quickly. Tyson here wants to counterattack with Speed Zealots, and that's like how Best has been playing a lot. Like that really deep run he had, what was it, Season 19? Where Best was looking like the best Protoss in the world and almost took a victory. You know, he was going 3-gate really, really quickly. This is 4-gate from Tyson. The timing of this Hydra Rush is a little bit slower, so this might actually work out better for his situation. But yeah, it's really, really similar to the thought and style that we were seeing from Best previously. Now, looking over at Effort's base, he's adding his macro hatcheries really quickly, so he's getting up to those 6 hatches. Range is almost done here for those Hydras, and they will start beating up on this gateway. As Zealot legs finish, which just happened, he's going to be able to very easily send these Zealots out and push everything back. He does not need to lose any buildings to this little pressure. And the Corsair is showing him that it's mostly droning going on, so he is going to want to move out quickly. And there he goes. He tries to get around the Hydras and actually gets a reasonable surround there. Of course, he will just shred the Zerglings, which don't have any upgrades as of yet. The Corsair coming back. He's going to get a couple Overlords with that. Looking really good for Tyson. Like, this is a great move out. The fact that he's getting 2 Overlords, he's got great information as to what's going on. But Effort is hitting his macro. You know, he's going to have these 6 hatches up, producing a lot of Hydralisks. And we'll see if he's able to block everything that Tyson's going to be sending. Now, Tyson does add a couple more gateways, so he's going up to 6. I think he's going to add a couple more. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't go 8-gate here to try to punish. In fact, you know, he's on 48 probes. Like, he might even go up to the 9-gate. I've seen that a little bit more recently. But we'll see momentarily here. Now, gets into this third base and deals a little bit of damage. The Hydras do end up blocking it, though. Some more Speed Zealots coming up from behind. Kind of interesting that he was saying those towards the third when so many Hydras were up there. I feel like poking here, not that he can do anything. It seems like there's enough Hydras here. He'd probably want to turn around anyways. But that might be a better play. Now, a DT is coming up here, but there are a couple Overlords that have hatched, so it doesn't look like he'll be able to get anything done. A bit of damage goes down on that Dark Templar, and comes back down with these Zealots and actually gets a very nice round. These are the types of moves you need to do when your opponent is turtling a bit, is finding when they're a little bit out of position and getting those Zealots with their surface area on top of the Hydras. And you can see he's actually doing a wonderful job. In fact, targeting down some of the drones as well with those drones that are with those Zealots, while the drones are trying to block some of the fighting there of the Zealots. So good micro overall. 36 drones to 52 probes, and there's the 9th gate that I was kind of alluding to. When you see the probe count that high and everything's gone pretty smoothly, makes sense. Get into that 9th gate and give it a go. But one thing to mention, what we're seeing from effort here, this is kind of close to how True has been playing a lot. Going into these mutas, and there, ooh, he is getting Maelstrom, but it's a little bit late, and we have no cannons here, no cannons here. So the mutas are going to deal so much damage. The counterattack from Tyson is going to have to do a lot, because these mutas are going to be just so scary. If he had one more muta, this would be incredibly deadly. I thought he had 5. I think my brain misread that. He actually has 4. So he actually pulls these back. More mutas are being made. Looks like he's more afraid of these zealots that are out in the map than anything else. Oh! That was the sickest storm. And just the fact that the zealots and high templars got these mutas to pull back, that is huge in and of itself. And then you also get all the drones that he just killed. So really, really well done. Looks like he was on a move command there instead of attack move. So did get delayed out. The muta's going to be able to help with everything. Maelstrom is about to finish 8 goons on the way. He is getting some defensive cannons and hiding that Dark Archon in the middle over there. Okay. So that little attack that forced effort back was so incredibly important. If effort had 5 mutas over here, I almost feel like you just stay and kill like every probe or just stop all mining for a bit. But seems like he felt like he needed to bring them back to help defend against that. I feel like he could have maybe lived through it. Either way, effort over here now going to try to get some value out of these Mutalisks. Let's check the energy. So 80 energy. We got about 20 seconds before he can use Maelstrom plus Psystorm combo to kill all the Mutalisks. And with the amount of Dragoons he's making, it looks to me like, let's count high templars. 1, 2. That's going to be 4 storms. Is that all he has? Yeah, I guess so. He did lose 2 across the map. But he might have enough to deal some serious damage. Okay, he sees the Dark Archon and goes after it. Oh, come on! There. It kills one of them, so that's brutal. He gets all of them. If he had been able to save that High Templar, because he was going to have 4 Psy Storms, now he's going to have 1. Huge difference. Huge difference. Great to kill the mutas, but I no longer feel like this attack will go over across the map and kill effort. If he had 3 more Psy Storms, I could see that being the case. All right, has to utilize this one on the mutas. So the mutas definitely doing their job of reducing Psy Storms. And look at this. It looks so empty, but we're going to have a big flank of like Ling Hydra from the other base, and this is mostly Dragoons. So like, while he might be able to do something like pick off a hatchery, I don't see this ending the game. I don't think so. Well, he needs to bring these units over. These would help immensely if you line them up to kind of block. So that's 1 hatchery down. That's a really good move. I love the retreat here from Tyson. Chills. I don't get chills PVZ that often. But chills. That is an excellent move to run away from here and get his reinforcements going. So, like, he is just running around with a huge group. This kind of reminds me a little bit of Rich's play. The big roaming of the Dragoon Zealot army, like not necessarily even having High Templars in there. It's not that Rich does that like every game or something. I actually don't have a great feel for exactly how Rich is playing PvZ all the time, but I feel like a lot of the games that I've been impressed from him on looked exactly like this. The moving around with the base army back and forth and just kind of applying pressure with it. Big fan of that type of play. Okay, he's going to get the Evolution Chamber. Some Lurkers are going to burrow. That's okay. He's just kind of sitting back, hitting whatever he can. 4th base is up here for effort. A little bit of defense for sure as well. 3rd base gets finished for Tyson, and finally going to send some probes down. His Dark Archon is going to have another Maelstrom very shortly, which is going to be really strong. Where's our High Templars at? Like, seriously, though, where are they at? I'm actually just going to try to... Oh, okay, they're hidden behind the Forge. 2 there, 1 there. So 100, 100, 100. So those all were built in the same round. Very Dragoon heavy still. This is one of the High Templar lightest games that I've seen in a bit. Like, he's really focusing on Dragoons, which, you know, when you hit critical mass of Dragoons, they're really quite amazing in the matchup. He might... Like, Tyson might be reading that he can actually just go kill with Mass Dragoons and a few Psy Storms, because he's really spending a ton of gas on that. And he does have, you know, the Dark Archon as well. So a good Maelstrom will protect all of his High Templars, and then he's going to have his Storms, and then just the ridiculous power of the ranged goons against a mostly Lurker-based defense. And you can see over here, it's like, Effort's playing kind of a funny game, and we actually saw something similar from him before. Look, I'm excited for Effort to maybe change what my understanding is of this matchup, but like, he is continually making mutas, but then just defending multiple positions with Lurker, as opposed to having a zoned Lurker defense, which is much more common. Okay, so now we have the attack in here from Tyson. He is going to be trying to break through, and like, again, it's like a Lurker-based defense, a good amount of Sunkens in here. Dragoons can smash the Sunks, especially if you put a few Zealots up front to tank some of that damage. Now, here come the Mutas. He wants the Maelstrom, and he actually gets the Maelstrom there, but doesn't actually spend Psy Storms on him. He's spending the Psy Storms instead on some of the Lurkers. Okay. Like, that's a high ground Lurker. I get it. Like, that's very hard to hit. Kills a couple Lurkers there with it as well, and is just pummeling his way into this natural. Okay, a big flank coming in. All the rest of the units from Effort coming from his other bases to try to help. What a fascinating game that this has been. Tyson is just kind of breaking through everything, and he is setting up a fourth base during this, which is fantastic to see. I would love to see him reinforcing a little bit quicker. You know, he's got these groups coming out. Like, I definitely want to see those sent across the map immediately. That's, you know, easier said than done, of course, but that is definitely something that can improve your play quite a bit. The Dark Archon has another Maelstrom ready. I don't think he's going to need it, though. As he's getting up this ramp, that should be it. This is fucked. GG. Okay. This was a fascinating game. I want to talk about just a couple things here. Oh, shoot. Or let's go here. Couple quick things. First off, I actually quite like Tyson's play. The adding of the gates, I am a big fan of this since I saw Best doing this in ASL Season 19, where when he was getting Hydra Rushed, it's not a priority thing. Okay, so a lot of times you see a Hydra Rush coming, and the Protoss will be adding cannons, and they'll be like, okay, we get Psy Storm because they're going to be on Hydras, so the Psy Storms are going to be able to kill the Hydras as I macro up, and I'm going to outscale them. But the thing is that it doesn't feel like that is necessarily the strongest play. Seeing Best go for like the 3 gate, and here Tyson went for 4, and again, I think that might have to do with how much later this Hydra Rush was. It was like a Ling opening into the Hydras, so he had a really healthy probe count already. But yeah, he went into that, he put on some heavy pressure with it, and then kind of masked up, you know, even that attack that forced the Mutas to turn around while his Dark Archon was getting ready was cool. But then he did the roaming, which was neat and all that. Now, on Effort's side, well, from Tyson, I think great execution, great modern strategy, and I'm very excited because I have another game of these two playing. So I want to see that one happen right after this one, how Effort might change. Now, Effort, we saw this the other day, where I was talking, I'm pretty sure it was an Effort game, right? Where I was talking about how generally you won't see Muta and Lurker at the same time. 3-hatch Hydra will go either into Muta or into Lurker, or it could go into Muta, into Lurker. But normally it doesn't kind of stay on both. Here he kind of stayed on both, and we saw him do this before as well. Now, you can kind of do whatever you want in StarCraft, right? Like, we have metas for a reason, and let me just reiterate that the gas costs of these units eat into each other's numbers. So, like, it's more common. Like, you can play a turtled style, and here's the thing. He's got this position that he's trying to turtle, this position that he's trying to turtle, and this position that he's trying to turtle. So, a Lurker-based defense, yeah, I mean, you can do this and turtle these different positions, but you don't actually have that much because you're spending a lot on Mutas as well. And, you know, there can be some thought process of, oh, I'm killing High Templars, so it's actually okay. but the overall army size is not as much. A lot of more modern Zerg versus Protoss might be something like a zoned lurker defense up here as opposed to 3 separate lurker defenses. And the zone lurker defense can do things like move, you know, to, like, if Protoss starts trying to go up here, maybe you move some up here and go back and forth and you're kind of spotting, or possibly a potential counterattack across, right? There's a lot of different ways that it could be played. And of course, there are lurker containment strategies. Haven't seen that much on Metropolis. It matters kind of on map. You know, you're definitely going to see it where there's like a high ground, a deja vu, a knockout, that type of thing. The lurker containment strategy might be something someone's rushing to, but that's different from what we're talking about, just to line that up. So seeing effort go for Mutalisks and lurkers at the same time, trying to kind of have the best of both worlds, is interesting, but I feel like Tyson countered it really well. He relied more heavily on Dragoons, but which are going to counter in these huge numbers. They are going to counter the mutas, and in these huge numbers, they're going to counter the lurkers when the lurkers are in lower numbers. The mutas are here to counter High Templars, but we actually, I mentioned in the game, I'm like, this is not a lot of this is like one of the more High Templar light games that we've seen. Fascinating. Like, I'm just coming up with this while I'm talking about it, where I'm like, this kind of all fits together in a way for Protoss, doesn't it? He's not relying as much on High Templars. He's trying to brute force his way through, which I normally am not a fan of, especially if it was one gigantic lurker defense. But yeah, that's fascinating. I don't know. Let me know what you think, guys. I hope that you enjoyed. I actually very much enjoyed this game. And it's good to see Tyson playing this well. We'll see if he can keep that up, and we'll see you next time.